This episode of the Savage Lovecast is brought to you by Soaking Wet by VB Health, the world's first probiotic specifically designed for vaginal and vulva health and wellness. Visit soakingwet.com and use code SAVAGE for 10% off or click the link in this episode's show notes.
You're listening to After Action Report at savage.love.
After Action Report.
Welcome to After Action Report, where callers tell me stories of their new sexual experiences. Last week, we heard from a woman who experienced something she didn't like at all. And this week, we're going to hear from Lewis, who experienced something I wouldn't like at all. If you want to hear what makes me, Dan Savage, uncomfortable, squeamish, squirmy, just keep listening. Lewis, welcome to After Action Report.
Hey, thanks, Dan. It's great to be here.
So tell me about you. Who are you? Position yourself, situate yourself for the listeners. Who is Lewis?
I am a man in my 50s, and I live on the East Coast. And I am polyamorous, been so for the past few years. I have a wife, a girlfriend, and some other partners as well.
People can't see you because we don't use video for After Action Report. I can see you. Being poly must keep you young. You do not look like you're in your 50s.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
So what is it that you did? What did you try?
Well, someone who I played with once told me about this thing called liquid love, and it sounded amazing to me. It goes by several names. I think now the official organization is called Touch and Play, but this was not sponsored by that organization. It was just someone in their house was sponsoring an event. And what it was is it's an event where you get down to your level of nudity that you're comfortable with. Most of us were naked. And we got in someone's basement. We lay down on the floor that was covered in tarps. He covered us with oil, blindfolded us, and then we rolled around each other for the next hour.
How many people total were in this serial killer's basement?
There was 16 of us. It turned out to be 8 men, 8 women, and I'm bi, so I was happy to roll over everyone.
And it's called Liquid Love, not Slip and Slide?
I guess you can call it whatever you want to call it. I Googled liquid love, and it seems like there's events in like London, Berlin, many major cities. But this is in a smallish place that someone in there was offering. And it wasn't someone who I hadn't known before. Like, this is done by invitation only, so it's not like I just randomly answered a Craigslist ad or something like that. He only invites people that he knows or connected to. So I met him at a festival and he kind of vetted me and got to know me. And then he said he'd be happy to invite me to his house for
a festival where they burn a man.
No, it was actually a tantra festival.
Oh, okay. Usually when someone says a festival and something like this, it's like all roads lead back to Burning Man, except this experience. Why did you want to do this? Why did you want to be naked and covered in oil and blindfolded in a basement on a tarp rolling over 15 strangers?
Why not? I
can make a list of why not. I have a long list of why I wouldn't want to do that.
You're not a big fan of public nudity. I'm an exhibitionist for one. I also, when I started getting into poly, I went to a lot of touch-based events where cuddle parties or sensual parties where you could make out with people, and there was a lot of touch involved, and I found that I really enjoyed that. So I'm a cuddle-slut or a sensation freak. I really like touch, and I enjoy meeting new people and consensually touching new people, and I find that really exciting. So when I heard about this event, I thought, if I get an invitation, I am going. This is going to be something I'm going to do.
We, the two of us here together having this conversation, a perfect example of different strokes for different folks, because this thing, a cuddle party, oh my God, I'd rather go to Turning Point USA and have to sit in the front row. The scene that you described that you wanted to talk about here in After Action Report, like if Dante designed a pit in hell just for me, it would be that guy's basement with 15 strangers covered in oil sliding around on top of each other. But that's your jam.
It is definitely my jam. Like, I go with my wife or other partners to kink events, but I look for the people who are interested in sensuality and like like to be touched, feather play, very light touch, that kind of thing. I'm not an impact person or pain person, but light sensation play, that's my jam. So something like this was really exciting. Now, do you want me to go over the rules of?
Yeah. Tell us all about it.
Yeah. So we first met in his basement, all with clothes on, and he kind of went over consent and the rules of the event. And the rules of the event were that no one had to get naked. You can get down to your level of nudity that you're comfortable with. I think everyone at the end of the event was totally naked. So
I would have been in one of those deep sea diving suits from the 30s with the screw-on helmet. No, the outer space one.
Right. Well, you probably you would have heard that and just ran out the house running. But he went over the rules of consent. And most of the events that I've been to, verbal consent is really important. Like, you don't touch someone on their shoulder or their elbow without saying, hey, can I touch your arm or your leg or whatever? You get very explicit consent. Well, we were going to be blindfolded, so we couldn't even see who we were touching. And we're going to be covered in oil, so we're going to be bumping it against each other anyway. So he encouraged us to reach out to people kind of with the back of your hand, so you're not groping people. But also, it was a quiet event, so we were going to not talk to people and ask for consent. We would just kind of rub into people. If they would roll away from us, well, then we didn't have their consent. If they would roll toward us, then it seemed like they would want more, and then we could try to move in such ways that we would be rolling over each other or touching each other more. The other thing is, it wasn't a sexual event. So there was no penetration. You weren't allowed to stick genitals in each other. The rule was no stroking of each other. So, no one was jerking each other off. No one wanted semen mixed up in this oily space. You didn't want to have too many fluids in there.
I could see there being an accidental emission.
I don't know. I don't think so.
And boners weren't forbidden, right?
Definitely not. I had a boner the whole time, so it was great. So I was very turned on.
They would have had to open my chest cavity to find my dick. It would have been pulled so far inside my body. Which is not to shame you or your pleasure in this. It's just
no, it was amazing.
Things that I enjoy that I'm sure would send you running to the hills, and just vice versa, different strokes for different folks. When it was just the 16 of you before the event started and you were looking around the room, were you down to touch all of these people? Or is there a certain way in which this touch is different? It's sensual, but not necessarily sexual or erotic. It's communal. Is it a siblinghood of touchy bodies?
It kind of depends how people respond. So we all started rolling into each other. We all laid down in a circle, faces towards the center. So our feet were all sticking out. And once we were blindfolded and covered in oil, we were encouraged to slowly start moving towards each other and finding people that would want us to touch each other. And it started going pretty quickly. It started accelerating pretty quickly, so that people were very receptive to very sensual touch, which means that you might start grazing boobs, or you might start grazing genitals. You weren't stroking anybody, but if you happen to come across a dick or a pussy or some boobs, you could kind of roll gently over them.
Using the back of your hand, so flippers.
Using the back of your hand at first, but then if someone wanted, or seemed to want, you could then start caressing with the front of your hand.
So this was a bi event. You weren't the only bi person there, and it was sort of implicit in the experience that men would be touching men's bodies and women would be touching men's bodies, and men and women would be touching each other's bodies.
Exactly, yeah.
Although I got to say, it sounds like the rules that had to be made explicit for this mixed group of men and women down for a bi or bi-light experience. The rules remind me of the rules of the gay darkroom, where by entering, you have consented to some degree of touch. If somebody reaches out and touches you in a darkroom and you don't particularly want that person touching you, you don't want to get touched right now, you just want to soak up the vibe, you move their hand away from you. Mm-hmm. But they haven't violated you by initiating that first touch, because you are in that space.
Exactly.
And the same thing applies to this basement in this house. You never know what's going on in a house. You can walk by a million houses in the suburbs. You never know for all you know, you walk by a house and there are 16 people blindfolded writhing around in, what was it, motor oil, canola oil, seed oil? Coconut
warm coconut oil. Yeah.
Not beef tallow, so we know that RFK Jr. wasn't there.
No, definitely. And in worst case scenario, if you didn't like the touch, they said just do a double tap on the hand, just like tap the hand twice, and that way the person would, back up and back off.
And it was cold. You didn't know anybody else there. You were invited, and there was nobody there you knew.
I knew the host, and I knew maybe 2 other people. I had seen 2 other people maybe from that festival where I met the host at.
So it wasn't like, oh my God, Uncle Marv. It wasn't like that kind of knowing somebody at the party.
No. But there was other people that I had seen like in another sexual context.
So good experience or bad experience? It was a bad experience for me. I want to center myself here. A bad experience for me vicariously, but for you, in actuality, was it a good experience?
It was amazing. So one of the interesting things that happened was, I was blindfolded, so I couldn't see who I was interacting with necessarily, but people's bodies are different. And I started getting to realize some of the people who I was interacting with. And there was one woman in particular who we kept on finding each other. And when she realized it was me, she kept on pulling me on her. And so I interacted with her a good maybe 20 or 30 minutes out of the event, such that when we finished, like we were next to each other and we kind of cuddled with each other at the end, we were very much into each other. So at the end of the event, you were all supposed to shower off. And
I was going to ask you how this, like everybody walks into the yard and gets sprayed down with an industrial hose. Like, how do you clean this up?
Yeah. So he said, everyone, go, don't get oil all over his house, but you would go into one of the bathrooms and shower off. So I invited this woman to shower off with me, and she thought that was amazing that I had invited her. And we kind of like made out in the shower a little bit together, which is really fun. And then
while 5 other people were banging on the door saying, hurry up in there. We're like,
well, there's 2 other showers, so it was fine. But I got her number, and we were flirting ever since afterward. And now she's one of my friends with benefits.
Okay, the 2 last questions we always ask kind of don't apply here. Would you do it again? Obviously, yes.
I can't wait for another invitation. Yeah, I was traveling, so I was not able to go to the last 2 events, but I'm hoping to go to maybe an event next month.
And we always ask people for tips that you would share with anyone who might want to try this.
If you're Dan Savage, don't come. But if you,
I'll ruin the vibe for everyone. My body, people would be sliding toward my body, and I would be so tense. The oil would congeal around me, and it would just like ruin the whole party.
Yeah, but if you like sensual touch, this is definitely a good vibe for you. And Touch and Play is an organization that runs these events like at a larger scale. There's one happening in Massachusetts in June. They have them in Europe. They're happening in numerous locations. So it's something you could do at a large scale, but private events like this, you could kind of have to find somebody and get an invitation somehow by going to munches or events or festivals or something like that. But I would definitely repeat and recommend it.
In my own defense, I do enjoy sensual touch. I enjoy my husband touching me. I enjoy my boyfriend touching me and a select few other guys. But just like the strangers touch, people hugging me, strangers touching me, I don't know what it is. It fills me with anxiety. Like there would be a Dan-shaped hole in the wall of that man's basement when they like told us what the rules of the party. I would have been like, I thought it was here for Twister. What is this? What is this? I got to get out of here.
I've listened to your podcast long enough to know that you would not like this event.
Well, I'm glad that you called to share this event and your experience at this event with us. And I want to highlight again, like these events are out there. People can find them. If there's somebody listening who is curious about going to an event like this, where do they start Googling? What are the search terms you would recommend to find an event like this in your area, to find a basement like this in your area?
Either Liquid Love, Touch and Play, are, that's like the large organization that has official events like this, but maybe on FetLife, you could find, small local play parties that people might do things like this.
So Google Liquid Love, Touch and Play, and Dan Savage Would Never. All together, Google those phrases, and these events will pop right up.
Yeah, but FetLife is a great resource as well, where you can find small local events.
Louis, thank you so much for coming on After Action Report and sharing your story. And this was the first time you went to a party like this, right?
Yes, yeah, totally.
And it was a great experience.
Awesome.
I'm so happy for you. Thank you, Louis. If you've had a new sexual experience, if you want to talk about it, whether it was a good, bad, met, or mid-sexual experience, come on After Action Report and debrief with me. To come on After Action Report, you just have to write up your new sexual experience and send it to us at q@savage.love with After Action Report in the subject line. And then maybe we will call you and you will be the next guest on After Action Report. Thank you for listening.
After Action Report.